Welcome to another Railroads Online Showcase video. Today we have two main big topics to talk about. First up, another new engine. Finally got for Glenbrook, so no more road-going operations with the Betsy. And secondly, the iron mine is now part of a network, so there's a way up there and a station, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, we have a new place to go, we have a new engine to go there, so why not just do that, make a little trip up and deliver some supplies so you can also see how the entire station is going to work. However, before we get into any of that, quick note here about the platform. I just decided to extend this one to meet the track here. Think it looks pretty good. Would maybe try to line up the planks a bit more, but overall I'm really happy about it. Just took some of the prop platforms, connected them to the industry ones, and I use Railroad Studio to line everything up so it's not like too high or too low in the ground, because that just didn't work out too well just with regular placements. So yeah, Railroad Studio is also working again with a new map and also a bit better with the old one. Still doesn't seem like it's completely up to date. It was a huge update, so can expect it to take a few days. The thing is, I attempted to use it to fix my problem on the other save with the sawmill and all that, and that just doesn't seem to work. Let me just quickly have a quick look here if we need to add more firewood. Might as well. The thing is, from what I gathered, the whole game checks every time you load back into a save if all the platforms are on the right height, and if they aren't, it's gonna adjust that. So I managed to replace my entire sawmill just with the free mode thing that we have here in the game already, and it worked pretty much perfectly. When I saved the entire thing, and from that point on, once I loaded back in, the platform was back in the ground again, back in the water, and that's just not gonna do it for me. So I either need like perfect and permanent scaffolding in order to keep the platform where it is, or maybe it's something else and I just made a ticket on the official Railroads Online dev server, community server. So let's see how that all goes and what they can tell me about it, because that's really quite frustrating and I don't see much of a way to deal with it. But I think right now, since the industries are technically still one thing, but some of the parts of it just keep acting individually, but they are not necessarily their own props that can be placed differently, it kinda needs to do something like that. Because there's currently, apparently, from what I can tell at least, no way for individual parts to be stuck on a specific height and for the game to remember. They would need their own coordinates for that. And hey, if we were to do that, we would have modular industries, which wouldn't be the worst thing either. Maybe lose the brake before I start going. And yeah, oh yeah, stop it. I should maybe talk about the engine first before we actually get into driving. Also maybe turn the light on after all it's night. By the way, I thought it would be a good idea to do this at night because, well, kinda looks nice, it's a bit different, and as long as there's no weather on as well, the night is bright enough for you to hopefully see something at least. So yeah, we now have a Glenbrook. Let me introduce you. Pioneer Spirit is its name for this version. Again, on the side my company name, and this time around I just went with a really fancy paint job. I love all the intricate details, it's really looking amazing. And I just fell off the track, which is nice. And yeah, you may have already spotted it. It has the number 1, because for some reason Betsy doesn't have a number when you load in onto this save. So on this map it doesn't come with its number. On the Pine Valley save it has number 1. But yeah, I just went with number 1 for this, and I was even considering to maybe differentiate it. So road going or road engines would just be R1, but putting a letter in front of this didn't work out. It just went way out of boundaries, so that was not good. And yeah, everything else would maybe be Y1 for yard engine, whatever. But yeah, as it is, I'm considering to maybe not give yard engines, any number. Gonna see how I'm gonna go with that. If you have any input on that, any preference, please let me know. I might just make it how you want in that case, because I don't really feel too strongly about that. Was even considering to maybe not go with numbers at all, but I think especially for road engines, it makes sense. It kind of adds a bit to see, okay, this was number one, this was the one I bought after. I think that's kind of cool, but for yard engines I'm always a bit less decided. I think on my initial save I made everything a 0. So let's just go into third person view and have a bit of a look around, so we don't have the whole display on the bottom part of the screen. Also it's kinda a bit buggy right now, so you could theoretically crash if you are constantly in the F menu. Another bug that I'm kinda trying to deal with right now is the whole unloading bug. So if you put anything into a different industry as a supply, the industry will fill up at twice the rate. So if I load up or unload one of the beam cars, instead of the 3 beams that are on there, it's gonna register 6 of them. I still only get paid for 3 of those beams, but still it's a bit weird, and the way I'm currently counteracting it is by just having hard industry difficulty instead of a regular medium one. So I now need twice as many resources to make something at an industry, which works out well with the industry is now receiving twice as much stuff as it should be. Only problem is that once the industry fills up and the actual supply area is getting more stuff, that supply area is now effectively half the size, because the double rate of usage that hard mode gives me only applies once the stuff is pulled out of the supply area and actually turned into the next product, if that makes sense. Anyways, let's talk a bit about the track here. So we are on a constant 1.5% incline. I tried 2% on the last save and it royally kicked my butt with how restrictive it was with different engines. So 1.5% it is, but that also means I'm kinda wrapping myself around almost the entire mountain before going up to the iron mine. But it is what it is, and this should at least allow me to get a few more resources up there, especially later with longer trains. But right now, 8 cars with the Glenbrook are working flawlessly, and I reckon it should even be possible to get a few more. But then again, I'm also trying to save a bit of money, because this time around I want to be doing stuff a bit different compared to the second playthrough. On the second one, I was really rushing the early game, and that was all in favor of trying to get to the late game stuff, where I did a bit more out there things with the industries, like the coal mine especially. I really just always wanted to get there and see how that all goes. But with this one I'll be going a bit more laid back into everything and just trying to get all the rolling stock and the helper engines and whatever I want at the station before really going off to the next major thing. And that was really what I was lacking on the last one, because while I was just constantly going from one industry to the next one, every industry that I built may have had a good station to work with, but in terms of the stuff that I had, rolling stock and helpers, it just always felt a bit left behind and only half finished. And this time around I'll be doing that up front. Right now on the other side I could just stock up on everything, because I have like $50,000 up there, but again, won't be touching that at least until everything is fixed, and maybe then another cleanup episode or so would be in order. I don't think right now there is much to do on there, because most of the things that I wanted to achieve on the other save I've kinda done at that point. But yeah, a bit of cleanup, getting a few more helper engines so everything is stocked, and then wait for more industries to be added. That's kind of the overall plan I have for the other save now. First up, fixing the sawmill, otherwise I don't know. Everything else seems to be working fine, and I think I should get rid of that bush there. And yeah, we are almost coming up to the mountain top. Well, no, not to the top, but actually to the iron ore mine. And yeah, there are a few quite close shaves with scenery here. Trying to keep things close to the side of a mountain, so it's not like a completely ridiculous roller coaster. But I think we should be fine at this point. Trying to come in not too quickly so I can at least unload everything as I go. The station up here, again, it was a bit of a tough spot. The area looks pretty wide and all that, there is a bit of space to work with, but it was not as much as I expected. Just trying to get a decent corner radius on everything turned out that, yeah, there is enough to make it work to go around here, but it's just enough and you will never be able to put much on the outside. And with a regular corner radius, you're not going to be able to do anything on the inside. So that might be a good place for a mining town, because there's no way to utilize that area in a different way right now. But yeah, we are coming in, going towards the station, and I made sure to load all the cars in a way that I'll be unloading the beams first, since the beam platform is coming before the other platform. So lumber will be last. And that should hopefully all work out pretty well here. Okay, just gonna go with this. On one end, I'm kinda happy that we don't need to press any mouse button to unload the cars, and yeah, that would kinda easily mess up stuff with one single misclick. On the other one, right now I'm not holding the mouse at all. I'm just hoping that the angle I'm looking at is working out, and yeah, just trying to move forward, backwards, to the side, and pressing enter. So it's a bit weird. Maybe I should try rebinding that. It's not like I've been playing this for months and I'm now really only noticing the problem. Okay, this seems to be alright. And yeah, the entire storage here filled up from those few cars, and that's what I meant earlier with this being basically half the capacity right now. It just fills up so quickly, but as long as this thing has a capacity, we should also empty out rather quickly again due to hard mode. Okay, I just need to get past this switch here, which I am now, so that should all be good. So let's have a general look at the station, and I think for that I should make it day again. So let's just add a digit right here, and that should put us back to daytime. Yeah. God must have fallen asleep here, that we now have almost noon again. So to give you a general overlook, this entire thing is built up as a circle. We come in from the outside, and there's a slight turnaround or runaround track over there, which will be more useful once we get the extra helper engine and maybe longer trains, because this right now is pretty manageable just with the road engine. Turntable there, which we'll be using in a moment, and the inside track, which is supposed to be storage for the hoppers, which may this time around also just be the gondola cars, the tiny ones. After all, from price, capacity, and empty weight ratio, they are pretty good and even better than anything else here that I could use for the ore. So I might need to jump over my shadow and at least try them. But yeah, that's something worth considering once I have enough money. And yeah, it may be looking a bit weird to have this oval here, some of which is by the way down to a corner radius of 50 to make it work up here, but I think that should be still alright. Consider half of the track as a runaround for the other half, just to get past the cars here and go back to the other side of the train. So let's now turn this entire thing around by disconnecting the engine first, and then seeing how everything goes here. And yeah, of course we have a bit of a supply area, as you have seen already. Mainly for the helper engine once we get that, so I wanted to make it so that the thing doesn't need to go back down to the other station. Might as well turn off the light now. Come on. Got it. So the engine is just gonna roll around. I don't think I have any height difference here. I think that's all level. That was kind of a biggest thing to consider. Would I rather have a bit more space and go up a bit? Or do I stay even and just make the corner radius a bit smaller? Worked out well as it is right now, I think. I also had another idea on where I would put all the hoppers on a ramp and maybe try to make a dip at the actual loading area so they could roll down there and would maybe stay, but then we got the question on how it's gonna work from there. Is the next one that's gonna be needing to push the other one out? Something like that. Didn't like it too much. The plan now is that once I get hoppers up here, I will come up here with a road engine, turn it around and already put it back on the track going out here. And then, that's gonna need a bit more. And then the helper will just pull the hoppers towards the loading area. Okay, that barely works, but it works. And from there just load a few, pull them up ahead on the tiny runaround, go past them on the other side, pull up the next ones, fill them up, and then just keep pushing the full ones that are now in front of it towards the back end of the road engine until the entire train is assembled and all that. So that should be interesting. It's actually a technique that I used on the sawmill of my first playthrough. Was really happy with that station layout, and I think I might also do something similar to that on the logging camp. Since it has that whole drive-through station layout, that should be really effective, especially for the cordwood. But that still remains to be seen. Right now I just want to build up this, because on this thing, first of all, it will be very different having a road-going engine, a helper engine to help out here. That's gonna make the entire thing a bit of a puzzle, which I'm looking forward to. But also, I don't just want to keep moving on to the next one, as I mentioned. I just keep doing this, maybe improving the logging camp in the meantime. But until we have a helper engine and enough hoppers here to deal with everything, I'm not gonna move on to the coal mine. Maybe the smelter, because the smelter would actually increase my capacity of making money. But everything else that needs to be first up connected to and everything, that's gonna take a while longer. I'll just lean back and chill. So, but maybe not so much that I'm not gonna push the engine to go a bit quicker. And here we just have a supply area for the helper engine. Bit of a shed for anybody taking a break and doesn't want to do so in the bright sunlight. Plus also another thing that's usually the Undertaker with just a sign in front of it that blocks the Undertaker signage. Just to look a bit like maintenance shed. We're not too quick. Apparently, well, I should have maybe stayed on the engine instead of waffling on about other stuff here. Can I at least flick the switch once more? That's the thing when you're trying to do stuff quickly, you're ending up taking more time than you even wanted to. Let's see, I was still, it looks like 7 cars, so this was the only one leaving the track without permission. Okay, so let's back off the engine a bit more gently. I think we should be alright. This is not so much slower as the last time. Boom, but this one can now bounce off since there aren't any other cars keeping it from doing so behind it. And I'll just wait until we catch back up with them. And there we have it. So let's go back down the mountain again. And take a look at the scenery by day. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with what we have for the station. I still need to remove some of the groundwork that I placed previously. That was before we actually got the foundation added to the actual iron mine itself. Thing is, before that, there were really only like 2 possible spaces where the iron mine could really fit, as far as I could find. I went for this one, and now that I finally have the station here, I don't regret it anymore. But yeah, I feel for the type of difficulty I wanted for my save file, it was maybe a bit tough to start out with. I want to keep the other stuff before it all the way on the ground, because that's just gonna be painful dealing with it, having only the Betsy, and you need the logging camp, sawmill and freight depot to make enough money to get something better, and I think you should have something better before attempting going to the iron mine. But at this point, yeah, it could be a bit more difficult, that's not bad. This was maybe more on the tougher side than I imagined. But from this point on, the difficulty should be going up a bit steadily, for the most part. Again, the smelter is right next to the sawmill, so that's not gonna be tough to get to. But then again, you're gonna have to deal with cordwood as well and getting hoppers to begin with, so that's alright in my book. But everything after, especially the coal mine, should be a bit more of a challenge. On this map, maybe the coal mine is slightly too close to... Oops. Yeah, I got slightly too close to something here as well. Slightly too close to the ironverse to be much of a challenge. You could theoretically build a huge bridge over here and just be done with that. But that should also be alright. Maybe I should just go on this side and look at everything from here. And yeah, getting just the stuff from the oil field all the way up to the refinery, that's gonna be a challenge, but I think that's a good challenge to have. Trying to optimize the track there, trying to get a long train going and figure out how to get everything up the mountain. Because I think the tanker cars are about the heaviest thing that you have in this game. Apart from engines. Also, I was considering maybe using this arch as an actual bridge for the track here. Didn't really work out. On the other end there isn't any mountain nearby that would allow me to hug it. And everything else, just the free standing track, doesn't look all that great if it was like a gigantic bridge over time. So yeah, one of the possible options now that we have foundation to the iron mine would be bedrock over there. There is a ledge on it that would allow to put the upper part on, and well, since everything else is supported, that would be a way to put everything on ground level. Another place that I was actually considering that would have been quite interesting as well is over there, just the sheer cliff part of it. There is a ledge at the halfway point somewhere, which is pretty nice. Quite uneven, but it would be enough to put the iron mine on, and you would then not have a circular station like up there, but more of a lengthy one, and need to figure out how to make a layout with that. But again, that's gonna be not something that I'll be doing on this save. I decided for this version, and it's gonna work out quite well. Maybe we'll get another mine in the future. Maybe something that works with that. I don't know, would be nice. I have no idea what the devs have planned, but I hope it's something like that. I'd really be looking forward to getting more industries and see maybe a few different things. But I'm also curious on what they are going to do about the current state of industry placement and the whole height adjustment thing. If they want to do something where the game doesn't constantly rework the height on every single industry piece every time around, I would likely need to make them fully modular, and therefore we would be able, at least for Railroad Studio, to just place things in a different orientation from the main industry, and that could be interesting. Would certainly allow for nicer looking sawmill layouts and whatever else. Okay, I wanna get this switch here. Come on, Jedi powers. Yeah, I think I got it. Nice. So yeah, another thing that I'm gonna try in the future is maybe removing the freeway junction here for the iron mine and just connecting it to that point there. Just needs to be something that is actually facing the roundabout from a freeway junction, so I can choose between bringing everything to the smelter or to the freight depot. But right now, yeah, this was the first thing I could come up with. Actually, let's maybe have a quick look from up above at everything. Because while I think right now there's one junction too much, it's still not the worst one. Had to build the one end through here, or at least that was something that I tried. Because initially there was a switch right on the corner of the platform over there on the ironworks. And I then just went around the corner here for the other side. That was way too janky, and therefore eventually I just came out with this part here. So yeah, it's a bit of a monstrosity, but one that I made myself, so I'm still a bit fond of it. And yeah, this is the entire track that's going up everything, and I think the job I did on this is not too bad. Again, it's always gonna be a bit janky, always gonna have a few more bridges when you really want to, because there are no cuts in this game. But I think overall this does a decent job on not being too out there. Apart from maybe this part, but then again it's only a short bridge piece here, and well, can't do completely without it. So I think this kinda works. And yeah, with that I'm gonna end this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.